We hunt all day at the property. We stop and eat on the way home. Of course, you're staying out there till dark, so it's not getting dark till 7:30 or 8 o'clock. We get back to the house, take a shower. It's 10. I start charging batteries, dumping footage. The time I go to bed is 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I have to leave. We have to be in the truck ready to leave no later than 3 a.m. BJ and I were going to have to shoot over that knob a little bit, but we were the only place we could get set down and hit. I mean, this went on for 45 minutes or an hour at least. My camera went dead. Brandon still had his camera going. I looked at Brandon and I said, BJ and I are going to get on our bellies and crawl up to this knob. But I said, if you crawl up here with us, they're going to see you because they were right there.
Tejas Hunt Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you.
Should have left you that podcast to listen to. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon and Meagan. This week, we're going to be sitting down with my buddy Tim Endsley out of Arkansas. He grew up in the rodeo world, but after retiring from calf roping, he became more of an avid hunter. So if you've heard the story of me going to Nebraska and hunting turkeys, which I've probably told on this podcast more than any other, this is the guy that I went hunting with. I'm pretty excited this week to have him on as a guest, and he's going to be giving his side of that story as well. We're going to be talking about our turkey season, which his has gone way better than mine has this year. Unfortunately, only got to get out and hunt one weekend, and we just called up a bunch of jakes, which we do have a video of that on YouTube. Got some pretty cool footage, but we didn't kill any birds. That's turkey hunting. That's the way it goes sometimes. It's been a little weird this season. I've actually been, last weekend I was on my way home, and I actually found 2 strutting toms and some hens in a field that I've been watching. And if you're a hunter, you know, you pass these places or these ranches and stuff or pieces of property on your way to work, on your way to the grocery store, and you see them all the time, and they're like, man, there's got to be a deer over there. There's got to be a turkey over there. There's got to be something. It's just too pretty. It looks too good. I've been looking at this spot for a while, thinking those same things as I drive home, and lo and behold, the other day I came up on those 2 toms, and I'll drop the video on here. On the podcast if you're watching. If you're not watching, go watch, or you can go check out my Instagram where I posted it there too. It was 2 toms and probably about 5 or 6 hens just in a field, and I mean they were strutting like we're in the first week of March. Like it's I was talking to my buddy Leo today and the other day, and man, we're still seeing birds that are working hens and in full strut. And I mean, I don't know if it's the rain or the cooler weather that we've been getting. It's not the heat that's like turned them off from that, but they're still running around chasing hens. Just we can't chase them right now. Season's out, so we can drop pins and mark spots and get ready for next year. But this turkey season, it was a little different. But hopefully next year we'll be back at it. We still got a lot of content that we posted already, and a lot of content we're going to be coming out with here pretty soon. Megan dropped a podcast a couple weeks ago with our friend Bethany from Oklahoma. She's a mother of 5. She's a homesteader, and she's a hunter as well. So she has a great story about her family and hunting and the legacy that she's trying to pass on to her kids and keep them in the outdoors. And so if you haven't checked out that podcast, I suggest you hit that download button and save that one for next time. I know we've been putting out podcasts a little slower here lately, but as some of you may know, or some of you may not know, Megan and I just got married back on April the 20th. So our time from either work or creating content or planning a wedding has been tied up with that. So the podcast kind of dropped off a little bit. We're going to be picking them up here pretty soon because we're done planning a wedding. We had it, so we got a little more time on our hands. So we're going to be coming out with some more episodes and stuff, speaking to different people in the industry, and then probably doing some solo podcasts, just either me and her or Meagan by herself or me by myself. We just got back from the Total Archery Challenge in San Antonio, another great archery event that we go to, or we look forward to going to every year. This year was no exception. We got to shoot some different courses this year. We shot the Ultra View course on Saturday and then the Jack Links course on Sunday. So be sure and check out our YouTube channel to watch those two videos if you like archery. And if you do like archery and you haven't been to the Total Archery Challenge, mark it on your calendars when they come out with the dates, because it's a lot of fun. It's a family event. Everybody can come and have a good time. You got the vendors that are coming down. It's growing every year. So you're getting great deals on bows, arrows, anything archery related. There's going to be a vendor there, and you can check out some new stuff as well. As always, in the intro to our podcast, I'm going to remind our listeners to get involved. If that's your local National Wild Turkey Federation chapter, local SEI chapter, or any of those other organizations that are helping to keep hunting going, because we are, as always, even here in Texas, having anti-hunters try to pass legislation to stop us from doing what we're doing. And it starts out as, just a little something here and a little something there, and then it grows into something bigger. So if you are not involved, please pay attention. Talk to your friends about hunting. If you know people that don't hunt as much as you do and you have a little more knowledge, don't come at them just because they say something wrong, but be sure and educate them on what the truth is behind it. Because we have a lot of people that are spreading information and using emotional tactics instead of actual science-based wildlife conservation, which is our North American model. So if you're out and about and you have friends that are talking about something they're hearing in the news, the crazy zombie disease, or, all the mountain lions are dying in Texas, be sure and educate them on a little truth. But also prepare yourself and you get yourself educated on the things that are going on. Because like I said, if we're not paying attention, it can be taken from us very, very easily. And as much as it sucks, right now, it's coming down to ballot box stuff, and if we don't be active, that we're going to have a majority of the people making decisions for us that don't hunt, that don't know about how much we care for the wildlife and the things that we chase. So, like I said, be sure and get involved in those organizations as like you can, and support those groups that are supporting us. Because if we don't have people standing in Washington, D.C. or in Austin, sorry to tell you folks, we're going to have a lot more trouble hunting in the future, especially for our kids. So get involved. And after that, guys, we're going to jump into this podcast with Tim. He's a good guy, one of my Instagram hunting buddies. So hope y'all enjoy this podcast. Hit like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review on the podcast if you listen to it. That helps us out a lot. And if you enjoy this podcast or any other episode we drop, share it with a friend. Tell them to listen to the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. And if you have guests that you think we should have on the podcast that have a little knowledge they can drop on the rest of us, shoot us a DM, send us a message, or comment on YouTube. We'll love to have those different guests on. So thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch y'all next week. Windows, but our video guy, he uses Mac, so it would be a whole lot easier if we all had Macs. We could just airdrop stuff and just send stuff to each other. But now it's like, put it in Dropbox, make a link, send the link, click the link, download it. It doesn't download right. Here we go again.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the same with us. Like, that's the reason we changed everything, because Blaine, everything he had was Mac and everything I had was Windows. And so I just changed everything over. And now, like, even when we're working together, like if I'm looking up crap for video or stuff we need to add to something, I can look it up and I just airdrop it to them,
Yep.
from my phone while we're sitting side by side. It just airdrops it straight to the computer. So
Exactly.
yeah, it just works way better. So it's like crazy, but it's still such a pain in the butt sometimes
Oh,
to deal with. Just like stuff like this, it's like they make it so complicated. Like,
Oh yeah. And I mean, that's like one of the things, like, people ask me, like, dude, how's the podcast doing? I'm like, it's going good, but it's like every single time there's like an issue. And of course, I mean,
yeah,
it's like if I just had a studio where it was like set up and all I got to do is come in and, like, flip a light
flip a
switch,
switch.
because there are podcast studios like that, but over
Oh yeah.
here at Tejas Hunt Club, it's not.
It's not that way. That's right.
It's not that way, man.
That's right.
It's not that way. But we're making it and we're doing it.
That's
So
right.
it's
That's right.
just recording and putting it out. But
That's right.
I got it recording right now, so
Oh yeah.
I'll do a little intro and then we'll get going, man, because I'm
Perfect.
pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, me too. I've thought about that hunt 1,000 times. Yeah.
Dude, that is my main turkey story. Like that whole season that I had, like, it still hasn't been topped. I mean, it's still just been hunting hard and, like, getting shit on a little bit, especially
Yep.
this season. But welcome everybody to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon McDowell, and I'm joined today by Mr. Tim Endsley. Me and him have gone back a ways, and like I said, I've told that turkey story about going to Nebraska and just meeting a random guy on Instagram and driving up and hopping in the truck with him to go kill some birds. And this is the man that I was with when I did it. So I'm gonna let Tim do a little intro because we got more in common than just loving to kill birds. So I'm gonna let him do a little intro about himself and kind of go from where we first started sending messages to each other.
Yeah, so my background's rodeo. So like I rodeoed for a living my whole life, and my dad's in the Texas Rodeo Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Last year was inducted into the National Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City. So I've just grown up in rodeo. I didn't even hunt until I was like 26 years old because I was rodeoing for a living. I rodeoed for a living my whole life. So my wife's family hunted. I didn't understand it. Like I didn't understand, like, why do you guys like? Why do they let y'all out like a week of school? Because it's deer season. I didn't understand that. I was like, but then once I kind of got into hunting, I really enjoyed bow hunting, and then I was still rodeoing, so I would only hunt, maybe a month out of the year. I'd get to hunt like on the weekends or whatever when I was home because I was rodeoing full time. But my wife, like her and her dad, were really into turkey hunting, and my wife and her dad, when during the spring, I'd be gone, rodeoing. I'd be gone to, California or wherever we'd be during the spring. And her and her dad would be in Oklahoma turkey hunting or in Mississippi turkey hunting or whatever. That was their thing. I mean, my wife loves the turkey hunt. She wasn't going to go out there with me to the rodeos, but she'd stay home and turkey hunt.
Yeah.
So kind of after I retired from rodeo in 2010, and I'd kind of started turkey hunting with her dad a little bit and her, and I'd been to Mississippi and killed a turkey and really enjoyed it and just got into it. And then after that, Mandy and I went to Texas that year. My dad was being inducted into the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. So we went out there and I called a buddy of mine while we were there and I'm like, hey, you got any turkeys on your place? And he's like, yeah, they're all over the place. We don't hunt. And so we went out there and the first morning we killed a double, like right off the bat. And so from that point on, like turkey hunting has been my very favorite thing to do. Like I'll take a whole season of turkey hunting over any other season. But kind of to go back from that, after I quit rodeoing, I became a videographer in the outdoor world. So I mean, that's kind of how you and I got to know each other a little bit.
Exactly.
I'd spent 8 years filming for different TV shows as a freelance videographer. I've a lot of major TV shows on Outdoor Channel, Sportsman's Channel, and probably my favorite person I ever filmed for was Eddie Salter, and I got to film for a season for his show, and got to know Eddie, the world's greatest turkey hunter, legend, and that was a lot of fun. And then after this, I just got deeper and deeper into loving the turkey hunt, and it got to where it was just more and more my favorite thing to do. And I mean, I've gone on hunts with, I've been on out west, on elk hunts and mule deer hunts and everything else filming, and I enjoyed it. But like, to me, like still, I mean, other than, even over an elk bugling, I mean, people say you're crazy, but like even over going on an elk hunt somewhere, like, man, when you're standing out there in the morning, you hear that first gobble, there's something to that. Like there's just something about that just chills me, man. It's like, I just love it. And, but that year you and I met, I was kind of drifting away from the outdoor scene and kind of getting more back into rodeo and filming stuff, for different companies. I think that year after turkey season that year, I actually started filming for Huey Brands.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
Yeah. So I filmed for Huey Brands for that season, and, which was exciting for me because I got back into the world that I grew up in, and from the Huey Brands deal came Resistol, who if you watch Cowboy Channel, pretty much, most of the stuff you see on Cowboy Channel that's, Resistol, the feature films and stuff.
Yeah, y'all just did
Yeah.
the one for the BFI, which was
Yeah.
such a cool roping. I mean, if
Yeah.
anything, like if you're in the rodeo industry, if you're not in the rodeo industry, and you hear somebody talk about the BFI, it's like one of the premier roping events in all of rodeo and all of roping. It's the best guys. It's tough because it's a longer score. Like it's not just about you as a roper. Like you got to be mounted well. Like it's a long, and how many, I forgot, I can always forget, isn't it like 6 head?
Yeah, it's 6 head. Everybody runs 5, no matter
Yeah.
what, and it's over a 30-foot score. The steers are really big. They have it in the Lazy E now. But so if you talk to anybody in the team roping world, uh, to win the BFI would be the equivalent of a golfer winning the Masters. It's literally a once in a lifetime win. There's guys that have won it multiple times, just like the Masters. There's guys that have won it multiple times. I don't think anyone's ever won it more than 3 times. But it was to do that documentary, and it was a full, hour-long documentary on Cowboy Channel that we put together. And I'm super grateful that they allowed us to tell that story. But now, I'm kind of back in the rodeo world, which I really like, because now I don't have people calling me to go film their turkey hunts. So I can just take that time to go turkey hunt myself.
Exactly.
So a lot of times what we do now is, like, if we've got shoots in Oklahoma or Texas or wherever, like, I'll try to schedule them when turkey season's going on, so that we can, we can find somewhere to go chase a bird, even if we have to start filming at, 8:00 in the morning somewhere. If we can get out there at daylight and hear one gobble, and maybe try to get one blasted by 7 or 7:30, we're all about it. In fact, we did that this year too. We went to, we had a shoot in Pleasanton, Texas with Cactus Ropes, and Barry Berg that runs Cactus has got a place there. And last time I was there filming, my wife actually asked him, because she was with us. She's like, "Barry, you got any turkeys on this place?" He said, "I see them all the time. We don't hunt them." And so this year we had that shoot scheduled, and I said, "Let's do it on this week, Barry." And he's like, "Okay, it'll be perfect." And I scheduled it that week because it was the opening week of Texas turkey season.
There you go.
And so Blaine and I, my partner Blaine Smith, in Wildhorse Motion, which is our film production company, we went down there, and the first morning Blaine killed one, and then it rained for 3 days, and I
never got to hunt again.
No, I mean, we got to hunt, but like, it was hard. It was it rained every morning, and by the time, we'd have to kind of leave about 9:00, and we'd bail and go start filming for the day, and then we'd try to get done in time to come try to roost some birds or get on one to roost, and it was tough. I didn't get one killed in Texas, but Blaine killed one first morning. A really good bird. It was a lot of fun. But
was it his first one?
Oh no, Blaine's killed several. So it's Blaine's been turkey hunting for a pretty good while, since he was probably 13 or 14. But he's like me. He's not from a rodeo background, and but he's from an outdoor background. So he graduated college with a graphic arts degree, and then he went to work producing outdoor television. And that's what he's done for till we became partners. He was
Yeah.
producing 3 or 4 outdoor television shows, and now we're partners, and we're just mainly in the Western industry. But we still both love to turkey hunt so much. Like during turkey season, we either schedule stuff to where we can turkey hunt, or like this year we both took like one whole week and we just turkey hunted. Like we got all of our work done, got it knocked out, got it shipped in, and that for that week we didn't schedule anything, and we just hunted. And so I got to hunt with my wife a lot that week here in Arkansas, so that worked out really good. And but that's kind of how you and I met, was just through Instagram, through when I was still in the outdoor world, and we started talking about, me and my buddy BJ, had that deal up there in Nebraska with Dustin, and I said, shoot, you should come up there with us, just meet. And you just drove your butt right up here to Arkansas, jumped in the truck.
Dude, yeah.
Off we went.
Because, I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, now, honestly, we've kind of swapped. Like, we're doing more outdoor stuff and more, like, firearm stuff now. And then kind of the rodeo stuff. Like, we still have a couple events we cover, but it's not. Well, I mean, we're not getting the access that we kind of got used to get before. And unless, like, I mean, and there's a lot of great people out there, like, that shoot rodeo. I mean, even around here, I met a guy the other day at an archery event, and Luke, I can't remember his last name right now, and I forgot it then too. Dang it. But
Luke Brasher?
Yeah, Luke Brasher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Luke.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I met him the other day. We have been once again talking on Instagram, and he was talking about the rodeo stuff and everything. So I mean, there's a lot of great videographers, a lot of great photographers out there. And I mean, unless you have the ability to travel a lot and be able to go, that's kind of what kind of holds us back. Because I mean, right now we both still have, Megan and I both still have day jobs, so that's our main thing, and we kind of just did our stuff on the side. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love rodeo, and of course, like, we connected instantly off calf roping, because that's mainly that's what you did, and then that's what we were filming a lot at the time, because we were in College Station. I was going to Ricky Canton's ropings and filming his stuff as much as I could, and there was a lot of great calf ropers around there, and like they were having little jackpots and stuff, and I'd go and film and make videos, and then, like you said, that's how we got hooked up. But that season, or that year, me and my buddy Jared were hunting down south in Mathis, and I was leaving there, coming back home, and then that's when you called me and you were like, "Hey man, I got a spot open. We need another video guy. We'll run up to Nebraska and go try and kill a bird." And that was the first season I had hunted turkeys. We had just came off of hunting out in West Texas at that lease in Del Rio, where we killed 4 in 3 days. So I was like, dude, let's roll. And then so after I get off the phone with you, and I'm like calling Megan and be like, yeah, I'm on my way home, but I'm about to wash my clothes. I'll be about going again tomorrow. And then at about that time, she's like, well, who are you going with? And I'm like, a guy named Tim. I met him on Instagram. And she's like, you're about to drive to Arkansas to then drive to Nebraska with a guy you've never met before, never even talked on we talked on the phone that one time, but then just shooting messages back and forth. And my mom was saying the same thing, like, you were crazy. I'm like, well, I'm going to kill birds. And I mean, one of the guys I follow, Caleb Copeland, he does outdoor stuff too. And one of the things that I went to one of his class and talked to him, but like one of the things that really stuck with me that he told me that kind of made me make that decision, he was like, dude, when you get opportunities, you got to be a yes man. You can't think about it. You can't be like, well, I got this going. It might not. Like, if you can make it work, make it work. Because if not, like, it's the memories you're going to have, the experiences, everything. Like, if you can make it work, make it work. And I mean, that's putting in work at home before you go, and being able to do that and staying on top of your stuff. But like, it's when you get those opportunities, you got to take them. So I came to the house, repacked my stuff, grabbed some more camo, and headed up to Arkansas. And it was my first time going to Arkansas, which was pretty cool. I mean, most people, you hear things about Arkansas, but like it is some beautiful country. If you've never driven up from, say, Texas to Little Rock, like it's some beautiful country. That's all I'm gonna say. But got up to your house, met you and your wife and everything, and y'all welcomed me in. And then that next morning we repacked the truck and headed Northwest in Nebraska. I mean, like I said, it was my first time even going up the middle of the U.S. like that. Like I've been to the coast and stuff, but like seeing Missouri and then going into Nebraska, like it was a little different, but it was a lot of fun though, for sure.
Yeah, and then we, my buddy BJ Osborne, who was actually one of my rodeo buddies. I mean, BJ and I rodeoed together forever, and uh, both of us loved to hunt. And BJ had been hunting his whole life, so when I got into hunting, he was like all excited. So BJ's like, "Yeah, I'm meeting y'all in Nebraska." So we already had this trip planned, and so BJ came up, and yeah, we had a blast. It was a and that's another thing. Like you talk about meeting somebody on Instagram and then going on a trip like that. It's when you're in this world, like not only was I in the hunting world and the rodeo world, but I was also a videographer. So like we knew a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
We had a lot of the same, we had a lot of the same connections. So it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like nobody knew who each other was. And kind of the first thing I saw of you guys was you guys filmed Weston Hughes and John Douch match roping.
Yeah.
At the roping down there.
Yeah, the Seth Brazier.
The Seth Brazier. And they were in high school, and like it's crazy because now I film Weston and I film those guys like every week. Like we're all buddies, and I see them and I film them every week, and so we have a weird connection there too because that's kind of the first thing I saw that you guys did was you'd filmed that match roping with Weston Hughes and John Douch when they were in high school. They were literally like they were like 17 years old, and now they've both been to the NFR a few times and two of the top guys in the world, and I get to see them every week, and I talk to Weston quite a bit. I see John quite a bit, and so we got that in common. But anyway, it's that way. It's like it's crazy how small the world is. That's kind of how watching that video is kind of how I got to know who you were, and then we started connecting. I'm like, oh, this dude hunts too, like So it was a cool deal. But Nebraska I've never had another hunting trip like we had in Nebraska. Not on turkeys, I haven't.
No, me either.
Not that morning in particular, because the whole story is crazy because you guys weren't even with me for the first part of that story.
Dude, exactly.
So the first part of that story, you guys don't even know anything about.
Yeah. And I mean, we started out like with like getting there. I mean, I still have pictures in my phone of that dude in that motorized scooter when he came around the corner and he seen me in that store in Nebraska. And I mean, this is small town Nebraska, guys. And I'm talking like this is Amish country. I mean, it's farming. And I can guarantee you that man, nothing against him, but that is probably the first time he's ever seen a black man in that convenience store with camo on.
100%.
He gave me he rolled down, like we were standing in the aisle picking up food and stuff for the week, and I see him roll by and like.
And he was in his
motorized scooter, and then I keep kind of looking. I look back over there, and he kind of like rolls back into the middle of the aisle.
He backed up and he looked at Brandon, and then he rolled on by.
Dude,
I forgot about that. I forgot all about that dude.
That was so funny, man. I mean, and it's happened to me a couple times, but I mean, not in a bad way or anything, but it's just like, that's. Never seen that before, and I mean,
Auburn, Nebraska. That's in the Piggly Wiggly in Auburn, Nebraska. I forgot all about that. I was like, I remember that dude. He just rolled by. He was probably 75, 80 years old.
Oh yeah, I mean, and he was a bigger guy. He had his shirt open. Like, I'll put the picture in the podcast because I still got it. So if you're watching the podcast, you'll see a picture of this guy when he rolled by. But yeah, getting there, and I mean, like the place we stayed at was pretty cool. It was like this old house up on a hill, and I mean, it was literally like we had permission to hunt on some of that property there, but then like you go down a block or so, I guess a block, and you were right there on public land, like all around the place. And like that was my first time hunting public land for anything, but like for turkeys for damn sure. But oh man, and then like you brought the Rambo bikes. So that was the first
Yeah.
time I ever got to ride one of those and do the electric bike thing, and those things were awesome. But
Yeah.
man,
But what's crazy is getting up in the morning and the property around us that we didn't have permission to hunt. You get up in the morning, there'd be freaking turkeys gobbling
Yeah.
all around us on property we couldn't hunt. And it was
Yeah.
like, but you just see something crazy is now we have permission to hunt all that.
Yeah.
So like even the property, I don't know if you remember, so the public land there where we drove around the gravel road and parked and we went up by those hay bales and there was that huge green field.
Yep.
And remember those birds kept flying down and going to that green field. And once they got over there, we couldn't do anything with them because it was private.
Yep.
That place sold, and now we have permission to hunt that during turkey season.
Heck yeah.
That whole place. And I didn't get to go this year because I was working. But but yeah, that morning in particular. So we started out. We got on birds every day, but we couldn't work them onto the public. They kept working onto the private. And so that morning we decided to split up because we'd all been kind of going together.
Yeah.
And that morning, you and BJ went back up to the hay bales to that spot to try to catch those birds. And Dustin had told me, like straight, like I literally rode my bike down there. He said, there's birds gobbling across the field. He said, they're not on my property, but if you can call them out to the field, you got a chance.
Yep.
But there was a ditch, like I don't even know what to call it. It's not a drainage ditch. It's like what they'd water the crops out of, like if they had to use it to water the crop fields. It was just a big drainage ditch. And Dustin said, man, there's not that much water in it, but you can get to about 10 feet on the other side of it. And those birds are roosted up there on the neighbor's property. Maybe you can get them to come down. So y'all went there. I rode the bike around, and when I get there, there's like 14 freaking birds gobbling on the neighbor's property. They're just like hammered. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I look and the creek wall's like 10 foot down and it's waist deep water and you can't cross it. And I'm like, well, these birds just keep gobbling on the roost. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I just shucked everything except my gun. and I dropped down this 12-foot bank, slide down it on my butt, wade the creek, climb up the other side, literally threw my gun up to the top and then just clawed my way up to the top. And I was soaking wet and it was cold. And I had mud all over my hands and everything I had. And I crawled up there on my belly and I sat down and I started calling. And I mean, they just started hammering me. And I watched them all fly down. And they all flew down in a little spot. All I had with me was a GoPro. And I couldn't carry my camera across there. So I thought, I'm just going to carry a GoPro and I'm just going to get what I can get. And I pop up on the other side. I see them all flying down on the neighbor's property. And the toms are strutting, and there's probably 14 hens with them, and not one of them is coming my way. They're all going away. And I'm like, man, I knew this was going to happen. And as soon as I heard those hens, I was like, I'm doomed. And so the hens, I was hoping maybe I could piss one of those hens off enough that she'd come to me and maybe something would follow her. But there were so many hens there. There were so many hens. And so they just start skirting this hillside around, and I hear them gobbling going off. Well, I know where they're going because on the other side of that private property is public. And it's a long walk up in there to the backside of where they're going. I mean, a long walk. And it's through you have to walk a fence line through an alfalfa field.
Yeah.
And the alfalfa field's public, but the very back side of it's the wood line. Mm-hmm. And that's where those birds were going. They were going to those hardwoods and coming around that corner and just feeding into that, that alfalfa field. And so I get out, I swim the creek back, I get on the bike, I haul Bud up to the house, and I called BJ and I said, where y'all at? And he said, we got on those birds again and they all went back to that big green field. And nothing's coming this way.
Exactly what happened.
Yep. And he said, they're gobbling, but they're just not coming. And I said, well, I just got on a whole wad of birds. And I said, I know right where they're headed. So if y'all come back, I think we got a chance to kill one. And so I went to the house and changed clothes and put on I think I put on tennis shoes even because my boots were soaked. And we jumped in the truck and we hauled Bud up there and we got out and we walked that alfalfa field like, dude, it is a long ways. I just know that field's a long walk.
Dude, when you told us when we pulled up there, you were like, "Look, guys, like it's gonna be a walk, like
and
through
it's
the
up and it was
uphill.
uphill.
The first I'd say 100 yards is like uphill, and then it kind of like gets to flat a little bit, and then it goes up again, and then you drop off on the other side.
Off.
But
Yep.
like, and I was carrying my camera the whole time, and I was like, for a second
and
there,
I had my camera.
Yeah.
We had two cameras. We had cameras. We had the Tacticams on the shotguns. We had GoPros.
Everything.
We had so much crap. Yeah.
And it's just like we're gonna make this walk. It's like it's at that point. It's like, do you want to go kill this bird? Do you want to get it on camera and either make it happen? So I mean, that's what we did, and we just made it across and we weren't just like strolling through that field. We were trying to get there.
I knew where they were headed, so I was like, if we can beat them there, then we got a chance. And so we top the hill and we drop off the bottom. I remember we got in the edge of the tree line, and I called one time on a box call, and like 4 birds hammered, and I'm like, there they are, they're right there,
They're right there.
And so we get cameras set up. We all get set up by this fence. I crawl out there on my belly and throw like 2 hen decoys out. And then we back up and I crawl back and we're all sitting back there. And these birds, I remember, God, they were just hammering. Everything we threw at them, they were hammering. And and I remember, Brandon, you were to my right.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle. BJ was to the other side. There were 4 or 5 toms in that group. I know there was 4 for sure because that's how many came in. But so we're sitting there, and I'll tell you how long it lasted. I ran my camera battery completely dead.
Yep.
Remember? My camera battery was completely dead because I turned it on and had it facing, and I could see from where I was sitting, I could see the tops of their fans in the brush. And I don't think you could ever see them down there.
No, I could never see them.
I could see the tops of their fans, and every time we'd call, they'd blow up, spit, and drum, and we could hear them spitting and drumming. They weren't 60 yards from us.
Yeah.
But we had no shot. And we're just sitting there, and I'm like, crap, I don't know. Because they kept coming up and going back, up and going back. They had a little strut zone going there. And I'm sure those hens were down there somewhere. So Brandon kind of drew the short end of the stick at this point, because me and BJ have a knob in front of us, one knob. And Brandon's kind of sitting over in the side. He actually had the best shot at them if they came in.
Yeah.
And BJ and I were going to have to shoot over that knob a little bit, but we were the only place we could get set down and hid. So about that time, this went on for 45 minutes or an hour at least.
Yeah.
And my camera went dead. All I had was the camera on my shot on the end of my gun. Brandon still had his camera going. And I looked at Brandon. I said, BJ and I are going to get on our bellies and crawl up to this knob. But I said, if you crawl up here with us, they're going to see you, because they were right there. I said, so you're just going to have to stay put. And I said, you kind of got the short end of the stick, and I felt really bad about it.
I was like, honestly, at that point, it's like, I'll take it, because if y'all get up there and we kill these birds and I get them on camera, like, I'll be happy. And let's just kill these birds, because we've been sitting here for too long for them birds to leave and not at least one of them die.
That's exactly how I felt about it too. I was like, one of these birds is dying today. Like one of them's dying. I don't care who it is either that gets the kill. It was one of us was going to get to kill one. So BJ and I crawled up on our bellies and got right up to the edge of that knob, and we poked up over, and there they were. They were down there, and they circled around and came back in front of us. Well, BJ and I have hunted enough together that, he knew I was going to take the front bird, which was on the left, and he was going to take the back bird on the far right.
Yep.
And they were all 3 big toms, or 4. There were 4 big toms. There was no jakes or no 2-year-olds. They were all 4 big longbeards, full-grown birds. And they all come in strutting to the decoys. And I'm on the front one. BJ's on the back one. And I didn't even say anything. I just glanced over and I saw BJ kind of moving his gun a little bit, and I knew he was on his bird. So as soon as I had a clear shot, I cut at one of them, and they gobbled and kind of broke strut, and I shot mine. Boom, BJ shot his, and one of the middle birds flew, and I heard boom behind me. And I look up, and this bird's falling down the sky. Brandon from his spot when that bird flew, he flew right toward Brandon, and Brandon
Dude,
just smashed him out of the
as soon
sky,
as
dude.
I was watching y'all, and I was like, okay, and I kind of seen you look at BJ, and I'm like, and I seen BJ's like gun moving. I'm like, okay, they're on the
Yeah,
birds, they're right there. And then as soon as you shot, there was a bird that took off, and then BJ shot, and then he definitely like just really tried to take off. And I'm
yeah.
watching this bird, and I'm like, huh, look at him. And I'm just, oh. I'm like, and at first he's like, well, he's over them. I'm like, I'm not going to shoot. And
Right.
I had laid my gun in my lap, and I was
Yeah,
holding the camera like this. And as soon as he moved over where he was like a clear lane to shoot, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
this is way easier than the clay
yeah.
target. Boom, and just shot him out of the air.
And he
Dude, I
fell
was
straight to the ground, like right there by you, like
like,
literally
he
10 feet
straight to
from
my
you.
left, just right here.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
in the video, we got it on the YouTube channel, but like in the video, you could just like that's because I went from, hey Brandon, we're just gonna get this on camera and Tim and BJ are gonna kill these birds, to I just killed a bird in Nebraska on public land, like that quick. Like it was
yeah,
just being at the right spot, and like just, and you think about stuff like that. If I'd have been like a real asshole and been like, no, I'm crawling up there too, and blew up the whole
yeah,
thing, nobody would have killed one. But just sitting back, letting it happen, and I got an opportunity and I killed one. And then it's like we just killed a triple. Like after
yeah. We just,
all the work that we just put in, we just killed a triple, and like we were all kind of stunned for a second. Like, did that just really just happen?
yeah. I remember when we were carrying those birds out. It was like we were all just looking at each other like, the crap. Like I can't believe that. Like I can't believe we just killed a triple. And you're exactly right, because here's the thing. Like if I'd have been sitting back there where you were, I'd have been like, Brandon, crawl up there and see if you can get a shot, because when you're hunting with guys, I mean, that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, it's never a competition. To me, it's always, we're all out there, all of us trying, to help each other, accomplish our
Exactly.
goal. And at that point, I felt bad because like Brandon was in a spot where he couldn't move. He literally was pinned down, and BJ and I could crawl up there. And I was trying to think of any way Brandon could crawl over there and get behind us and crawl up. But like, if he'd have started moving, it'd have busted it,
Yeah.
and it'd have busted the whole deal. So he did exactly, what you should do. You sit there and you watch the action, and then it paid off for Brandon because the middle bird flew in a direction where he could get him, and he smacked his, and it was like we just killed a triple.
Dude,
And
it was so cool, man. And then like getting those birds and then coming up and then picking up the one that I shot and finding out that he's got a triple beard, like
he's
it,
triple beard. I
like,
forgot about that.
dude, like it doesn't
Brandon's
get any
bird
better.
had a triple. In all the years I've been turkey hunting, like I've been fortunate, like, to hunt in a lot of states. I think we were trying to figure it up the other day. Like I think I've killed birds in like 19 states. So I've never killed a bird with multiple beards
Yeah.
ever. I've killed, full grown turkey everywhere I've been, and I've never killed a bird with multiple beards. I've just never done it. And you kill a triple beard like the first day, like the one
Yeah.
you shoot out of the bunch was actually one of the middle birds,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a triple beard. It was a triple beard, and
Like,
the other one hauled butt. I don't know where he went,
yeah.
but
He
I
just saw
mean,
his three buddies disappear real fast.
disappear real fast. He's like, I don't know what happened, but I got all these hens to myself now.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. And then to top that off, the next day, my buddy Nate, who kind of took me up there the first day, he comes cruising around. He guides hunts on property, and he's like, "You guys want to go reap one?" And I'm like, "I've reaped some, and I enjoyed it." But Brandon's like, "I've never reaped one," and I'm like, "Go with Nate."
And dude, like,
It happened.
like I said, like that trip, it doesn't get any better because Nate, you meet guys all the time. It's like, oh man, dude, this is gonna work. And I heard of reaping and stuff, and I'd seen some videos, but I was like, all right, this guy's, he's telling me we're gonna get one. He's like, it's a slam dunk. I'm like, all right. So we pull up, we found these birds in this field that we had permission on, and he's like, all right, we parked, dropped y'all off on top of the hill
Yep.
so y'all could watch. And me and Nate drive down. We park at the bottom of this hill once again, another big hill right at the start to go up into this field. And he's like, "All right, man. As soon as we get up there and they see this fan, they're gonna come running." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Wait. Nate's in running shorts and a white t-shirt.
True
Smoking
story.
Smoking a cigarette.
True story. It's like, so like, you need camo to kill turkeys. Sure, if you're sitting there, but reaping one, you can get away with it. So, and that was like another thing that I was like, is this really going to work? But all right. So we go and we crawl up to the first little mound, and he shows him that fan, and he's telling me to stay down. He's just going to tell me and walk me into this. Cause he's like, if you raise your head, it's not going to work. So I'm trusting him. And he's like, oh, they're coming. There's two birds. They're hauling ass.
Okay, I got to stop you right now because let me tell you how fast this happened. Me and BJ were up on a hill. We were setting the camera up. We were setting the camera up with a long lens to film it. As I'm getting in focus, BJ says, those birds are running to those guys. And I'm like, shit, I can't get.
Cause it like, dude, it was quick. And I mean, he's like, they're coming. So we get up and we go over another knob or like two more knobs. And he's like, all right, get right here. Put your gun right here. And when I say raise up, they're going to be right here. They're right here. And he's like, counting me in. He's like 20 yards, 15 yards, 10 yards. All right, raise up. And as soon as I raise up, there's two huge toms just standing right there. Like, I'm talking 5 yards. 5 yards. And I raise up and I can't really see them. There they are. And I get on them. Boom, and I shoot, and I hit one, and the other one flies off, and like I'm like, oh, like crap, like that there he is, and like from where I shot, I stood up and 4.5 steps maybe, and he was right there, dead. Like another big bird, like dude, huge spurs on him, huge fan, and like I got that first one we killed, that triple beard that day before was an Eastern, and then this one was the hybrid. So I'm on my way to my slam. Now I got to go get the Osceola and the dang Merriam out west. But because I got a Rio down here in Texas. Or Rios down here in Texas. I mean, like for going on a trip and going from chasing birds and hunting hard to, kind of giving up a shot and then still getting a shot. And then the next day reaping one and getting to do that. Like, I mean, Nebraska has a nice place in my heart. I'm just going to say between that and the cinnamon rolls also from that bakery, that little town has a special place in my heart for sure, man.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that, so our little store there, our little Amish store where we went and ate, I mean, it's literally the only thing in that town other than, farmers.
Yeah.
And, the next year, somebody drove a vehicle through the middle of that store and demolished it, and it's never opened again. So now there's nowhere there. Like the cinnamon rolls are gone. The breakfast is gone. The store's gone.
Oh,
like the store's still sitting there, but the guy that owned it didn't want to fix it, and so the Amish people that rented it from him, they moved, and so now it's like if you want to go get cinnamon rolls, you got to drive like 30 minutes to where they moved their deal to, and but it's still, dude, like it's still the coolest place ever. Now that we have, back then I'd just been hunting with Dustin for a few years and mainly deer hunting. And now I've hunted with Dustin so much up there now, like he literally has given me permission to hunt like all of his property. Even he's got another farm that's over 1,000 acres. That's down the road about 7 miles, and it's his family farm, and only the family ever got to hunt it. Well, now we get to hunt it during turkey season and deer season, and it's a lot of fun. I love Dustin. I love that area up there.
Yeah.
And, God, they got the birds up there still to this day. Like Dustin sends me pictures all the time, like a big Tom's on the game camera, like every day and it's like, and then I didn't get to go this year just because of, we just had a lot of editing to do. And last year we took off a lot of time. And we got behind, and when you work for some of these bigger companies, you're always a month or 45 days from invoice before you get paid. So it's like, if you miss 2 weeks of, getting work done, like you've really cost yourself 2 months of getting paid.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like, this year I said, we got to get all of our stuff done, get all of our invoices sent out before we can go. And we fortunately had a lot of work to do. So it was, we just decided Blaine and I went to Texas because we were filming. We just, it was we were getting paid to be there.
Yep.
So it worked out. Blaine killed a bird. We came home, and then, Blaine went to Kansas and hunted. But I don't go to Kansas anymore just because it's one bird state now, and it costs you the same as it used to for two. And their birds are coming back, but they weren't. Last year we went out there and it was tough. I mean, there were just the birds just weren't there, and I mean it was tough. I mean, we have a lease out there, and we literally had to go to public land to try to get one to gobble. That's the only place we got on one was public land, but. So this year we decided no Kansas, and but we did take that week off. Blaine hunted a day or two in Arkansas, and then he went to Kansas and killed one. I hunted on. We've got some property here in Arkansas that we hunt, and Mandy and her dad got on birds every day. I can tell you this: our season was 3 weekends. Three full weeks basically of turkey season. It's late. It just ended Sunday, like literally this past Sunday.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in years that we had there was literally only one morning and one afternoon in a 3-week period that we didn't have birds gobbling. And that's cool to know, because there were years on that property that, my wife would go. She went like 3 years and never heard a bird gobble on that property, and hunt every day and never hear a bird gobble. And then now to know that this year we had, like 5 birds on one property, we had like 3 on another property, we had like 2 on another property, and we had opportunities and birds gobbled every day. Mandy ended up not killing one. She got close like so many times. She had one. She had a big bird come in the opening second morning. Her dad missed one first morning out of a double that they called in. Mandy couldn't shoot. She had to lay down so her dad could shoot, and he missed. And then the next morning they called in another bird that got behind some brush, and Mandy tried to shoot through the brush to kill him, and she just kind of blew the brush up, and he run off, but she didn't have a choice. It was either that or he was leaving. He wasn't coming. And I mean, I took that shot too, because all it takes is one pellet. And so he runs off, and we worked that bird every day. We had him so literally last Friday night, we had that same bird within 20 yards, and he got behind some brush again. And she moved her gun, like he got behind the brush, and she literally moved her gun like that. When she did, he pie-yatted out of there. And I mean, she had so many close calls, but I killed one with Blaine on last Wednesday morning. I've been in Texas. I had to go to Texas for 5 days and film for Resistol at Fort Worth, and came home, and Blaine and I had to edit all day Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday we had the first really pretty day we had here in Arkansas, and Blaine's got a lease like 10 minutes from the office. And he said, man, while you were gone to Fort Worth, we got on some birds at the lease. And he said, nobody got one killed, but if you want to go, he said, this may be our last good morning before it starts raining. And I said, well, let's go. We just got to be back in the office by 9. And we went out there, and dude, this bird, it worked out just exactly textbook. Like, we went down to where Blaine had worked him, where he'd been roosted the weekend before, and he never gobbled. And we're just sitting there like, God, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And so it's broad daylight now. I mean, it's way daylight. Like, he should have gobbled. We'd called a few times and nothing. And we got up and we're fixing to move. And I called one more time, and Blaine said, I just heard one. I said, where? And he said, back that way through these pine thicket. And I'm like, you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I called again, and I heard him. And I said, yeah, there he is. Let's go. And we went around and we literally walked up a road, cut in the pine thicket. I called one more time, and when he gobbled that time, when we were fixing to cut into the pine thicket, I looked in front of us on the road, and I'm like, stop. There's a bird right in the middle of the road. And I'm like, he's right there. And Blaine's like, what is it? And I went to pull my binoculars up to look at him, and he just walked off in the woods toward the bird that was gobbling. So I'm like, okay, he's going to him. So hopefully they keep coming. we walk in the woods. I call, this bird hammers, and he's 150 yards from us, maybe in these pines, open pines. And we just had to sit down, and I called one more time, literally just clucked, and he was 30 yards in front of us. And I'm sitting there. Plus, I just got this new 20 gauge this year, so I've never shot 20 gauge. You know, I've always shot my old 12 gauge. You know, Mossberg 835 tears your shoulder off every time, but I've killed 1,000 birds with that thing, man. I love that gun. I mean, I know when I pull the trigger, like something's dropping.
Going. Yep.
But this year I wanted to shoot a 20, and so my wife bought me the new Winchester Turkey Special 20 gauge with the full choke for TS, the ultra tight choke for TSS, and it's got the pistol grip on it and everything. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to kill one with this thing, and that was my goal this year. Is I was going to kill one with my 20, that new 20 gauge.
Yeah.
That sucker stopped out there at 30 yards behind a tree, and the other bird comes up. Well, the front bird that was doing all the gobbling was a strutter. I watched him strut up, and I'm going to kill the strutter. Like I'm always going to try to kill the strutter. I'm not going to try to kill the other bird. I could have killed the other bird over and over again. He was in broad open, but the strutter stayed behind a tree the whole time, and I'm like, crap. And Blaine's behind me. He can see him. He's like, why ain't he shooting? You know, and so finally he walks out behind a tree, and I cut at him one time. He gobbles, sticks his head up, and I dropped him right there in his tracks with my 20. And I was like, whew. And then literally my father-in-law, Sunday afternoon, it's the last day of season, at 3:00, Mandy and I had worked these two birds that they'd come out in the field, but they wouldn't come to us. They'd get in the field, and they'd just stand there on these knobs, and they'd just stand there and gobble. Yeah. And they'd be 70 or 80, 90 yards from us, and they'd just stand there and gobble. And then they'd turn around and walk back in the woods. And we set up a couple different places on them. They'd always come out, 80 yards from us or whatever and gobble. And but they were pretty visible. So Mandy's dad goes out there Sunday afternoon to that spot, takes one hen decoy and sets it up on one of those knobs and sets down in our butt prints. Under the tree we have sat under like 20 times in this point. And he literally sat in my butt print. And Mandy and I are hunting in another spot, and he texts Mandy and says, "Hey, I just called and this bird's gobbling over here in the field." And Mandy said, "Good, hopefully he'll come out." And we were trying to get this other bird to gobble that we were on that morning, and he was just he wasn't saying nothing. And so we were going to make a big loop and come back toward that field. And I told Mandy, I said, "Well, maybe we'll get to hear your dad shoot here in a minute." Yeah. And literally it wasn't 5 minutes, and boom! And she texted him, and he said, "Yeah, I just killed him, man." So literally, the last afternoon of season, I'm talking about, I always use this analogy. It's like bottom of the night, 2 strikes.
Yeah.
2 outs, 2 strikes. And he freaking knocked one out of the park right there. And it come to find out it was the bird. We think it might've been the bird he missed the first day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it was a 2-year-old. He said he thought that bird was a 2-year-old that he missed the first day. And it was the same area. So it might have been him. 3 weeks later, I don't know. But, he thinks it might be. So hopefully it was. But got his redemption. But it was a pretty good turkey season considering that. The only disappointment was that Mandy didn't get to kill one. But, gosh, she had such a good turkey season because rarely do you get to go in Arkansas and hear birds gobble every time you go out.
Yeah.
For hours. Dude, we worked a bird one day for 3 hours. 3 hours. And got him as close as, 50 yards in the woods and just couldn't get a shot at him. And but that's turkey hunting, dude. It's like and that's, my favorite thing is, sometimes the turkey wins, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Sometimes they win, and that's okay with me because I enjoy it. To me, Mandy always says, she said, "Did you get excited when you killed that bird with Blaine the other day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah, but you don't never show that much excitement when you kill one." I think the last time I really showed a lot of excitement was when we killed that triple because that's something like you just don't do that.
Mm-mm.
But I'm excited, but it's like I've seen so many die now. Like it's like my heart's pumping. I'm breathing so hard, like during the actual, hunt that when it's fixing to happen, it's like when it finally happens, it's like I'm, whew.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I was the same way when I rodeoed, like backing up in the corner, getting ready to run one for 30,000 somewhere or the biggest rodeo in the world. I was cool and calm as a cucumber my whole life. Like never got nervous. Never. It was just all focus about doing your job. And then when it was over with, I just go, oh, I just the adrenaline would hit you. And I'm that same way with turkey hunting, except it happens during the hunt now.
Yeah.
When it's finally done, I'm like, whew,
Yeah.
whew, man, that worked out. And
Because
I'm always
you're running as especially when you go out in the morning. I mean, if you get on a bird a little later, it's a little different. But like you get out of the truck, you get everything set, and you're walking out. If you're with somebody or you're walking out by yourself or something, and you get your plan together, and you're like, all right, I think they're roosted over here, and you can't.
yeah.
Sometimes you can't really tell, and then you let out. You just wait. Either you let out an owl hoot or something, and that first
Yep.
time you hear that, it's like from then on, my heart's like, okay, now we're good. If I wouldn't have heard anything, it'll stayed calm. I'd been all right. But as soon as you hear that first one and you got a chance to go out there and kill a bird, it's your heart rate goes up, your adrenaline is pumping, like everything's going because now you're like you're in the zone. You're there with them.
Well, if you've ever read the 10th Legion by Colonel Tom Kelly, he says in that book, and I think it's in the first chapter that, his heart would pound so hard and his breath, and he would breathe so hard that he was positive that the turkey had to be able to hear his heartbeat.
Yeah.
I
haven't read that book yet, but I heard it
you have
in
to
that.
read it.
I need to because I just watched that film, the Colonel and the
Nathan,
Fox.
yeah.
Dude, that when they dropped the little short for that on Instagram, I was like, dude, this one's gonna be good.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. My friend Nathaniel Maddox produced that film. I've known Nathaniel's crazy. Nathaniel and I the same way. We've known each other for 10 years, and he's an outstanding video producer, videographer, editor. I mean, he's probably one of the best in the outdoor business for sure. And but I've always said after I read that book, and it's right here, actually, literally in my filing cabinet right here. After I read that book, and I read it every year just before turkey season, and after I read that book, I thought, everybody that turkey hunts should read that book at least one time because it talks about, just what it feels like to be a turkey hunter, and that it's okay that they whip your butt sometimes because they're going to, and you can't be disappointed about it because you're trying to get that bird to do something that's not in his nature, and his nature, that's the whole deal is, you watch all these videos and everything, it makes it look so cool. They just come running in. It's kind of why I'm glad you got to reap that one because I reaped a few back in the day, and then I was like, listen, however anybody wants to hunt, that's their business. But like for me, I want to set up nowadays. It's like, it's no decoys, no fans, no nothing. It's straight up, go to the woods, call and try to get in front of them and get them to come to me with my call. And that's my whole goal now. But you can go watch, reaping videos and watch all these videos where these birds just come running in and it's all that easy. If you're literally sitting out there trying to call one in with no decoy, no nothing, you're trying to get him to go 100% against his nature, which is I'm supposed to gobble, I'm supposed to strut, she's supposed to come to me, and that's the end of the ball game. That's it. So if you can get him to come to you with just your calls and get him to commit, then you've done something pretty special. Yeah. And it's like I said, the reaping deal. Now that's a big controversy now. I did it. I'm definitely not going to say I didn't do it because I definitely reaped a bunch of birds out in Kansas, Nebraska, and everywhere else. It was fun, but I did it on private land that was my land, and I knew who was there. I wasn't doing it on public land where I took a chance of getting shot or anything. But now to me, I feel like I'm just more back to old school turkey hunting. Like I want to do it,
Yeah. It's really an evolution, like, and I mean, I think that's with everything. I mean, if you go like shooting, like hunting deer, hunting whitetails,
Yeah,
like, man, I want to watch him for 3 or 4 years and watch him get big, and then I want to hunt him and I want to kill him. It's just
yeah.
the evolution from shooting spikes and shooting does. I mean, you shoot does
If you need to,
if you
yeah,
need to all the time, but like it's just the evolution. And like you said, reaping them's fun. Seeing a bird run at you like that is a whole lot of fun. But then after you kill so many birds, it kind of gets you want to challenge yourself a little more. Like I like calling. I mean, I'm not that good at it, but I'm trying. I'm getting a little better, every year. But like that's the biggest thing because, like you said, and even talking to my friends and stuff that don't turkey hunt, they're like, "Oh man,
yep,
you're just doing all that calling, doing all that calling." I'm like, you don't understand that I'm trying to
yeah,
make him do something like you said that's not in his nature. And then when you
yep,
tell people that aren't turkey hunters, they're like, "Oh, okay." Now I kind of get it. Now I kind of
yeah,
understand like what's really going on because like people see elk hunting like well bugling at elk. Well, that elk is that's he's supposed to come to that other bull to be like, hey man, get out of here.
yeah,
Well, that it don't really work so kind of like that with turkeys. Like you said, you're making him do something he's not. His nature is not
yeah.
made for him to do.
100%. And that's like you're talking about calling. Like I feel like getting to spend a whole season hunting with Eddie Salter, one of the greatest all time turkey hunters, legend in turkey hunting. And I remember talking to Eddie about I wish I could call better. I want to learn how to call better. I want to do more calls. And Eddie told me he said, son, so long as you can yelp, cut, and purr, you can call up any turkey in the world.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, that's all I need. And so that's really all I can do. I mean, I can yelp, I can cut, and I can purr, and I can
Yeah.
cluck. I mean, I've learned how to do a few things, but it's all more about when to do it. And I remember, people talk to me all the time about calling too much or not calling enough or whatever. And I asked Eddie about that too. I'm like, how do you determine, how much to call to a bird? He goes, you just got to take his temperature. I mean, if he's cutting you off and he's hammering you every time you call, fire him up, get him coming, get him fired up, make him want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
He said if you're calling and he gobbles about, once every third or fourth time you call, back off. Don't call so much to him. Just make him wonder. Make him wonder if you're still there.
Yeah.
Um, but if that bird's fired up and he wants to come and he's hammering you, hammer him back. But if he's being kind of reclusive and that's my philosophy, and that's kind of what Eddie told me. You just take their temperature. If he seems like a bird that's a little more timid, you don't call to him as much. If he seems like a bird that's hammering, hammer him back.
Yeah.
And what does it hurt? I mean, people go, "Oh, you're educating them. You're doing all this." You're not. I mean, we've hammered those birds last week. The whole time we had them numerous times within shooting distance.
Yeah.
So, and so long as they'd gobble, I'd keep hammering them. I mean, and it's and then you got the old timers that they just want to go in there and give them a little cluck
Yeah.
and that's it. And that's it. And that works for them. And that's what they're like cluck, cluck and set the call down. And the bird comes in, they kill him. And that's perfect. That's
Yep.
great. I mean, but me, I don't have quite that much patience. I want to call to him. I want to hear him gobble. I want to know he's coming, I mean, and,
Exactly.
whether it's right or wrong. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to kill a lot of birds, and most of them I've hammered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, and two, like you said earlier, you were talking about calling to that hen, and sometimes it kind of takes that too. I had one not this season, but I got it a trip last year, and this we couldn't really get the toms. They weren't gobbling back. They weren't really
Right,
interacting. But this hen kept coming across, or I heard her, and she was making a little noise. So I was like, well, let me
right.
let me send something back to her. So I did, and she fired back. So I was like, all right, well, let's try this. So I started cutting her off, and she was getting pissed off and coming my way, like you were trying to get that hen to do, and lo and behold, there was three big old toms following right behind her. And I mean,
Not saying a word. They
that
weren't
not
saying a word.
saying a word. They finally got in close, and then they started actually gobbling when we were going
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. And then like had them three times come in, and I had a hunter with me, and man, the guiding deal, it's extra stuff because
Yeah.
this hunter, I mean, I did all the things. You got this, you got your water, you got your gun, you got ammo. Yeah, I got ammo. Cool. Boom. Let's roll then. Right. You got your face mask, got everything you need. Well, little did I know that, this guy, he has a box, an ammo box with some shotgun shells in it. And kind of when he gets some leftovers, he kind of just dumps them in there, you know? So the shells that he picked up and put in his pocket were dove loads. And let me just say, there's kind of a big difference between shooting a dove and shooting a turkey.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more ass behind it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So he shoots 3 times and these toms run off, and I'm like, how in the world did that just happen? Like, had it on film, everything, and it's just like, man, I kind of wish I had the gun in that aspect, but
Yeah.
it gave me a little reinforcement on my calling, so I'll
Yeah.
take that. So like you said,
Absolutely.
it's like you said, taking the temperature on the toms, and then also taking the temperature on the hens too, and getting them to interact, and hopefully bring in 3 toms like that one did. But I mean, it's a beautiful game that we play with these birds, because it's like you said, it's some days you win, and a lot more days you lose.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's that's what makes it cool. And I think for years when I was still rodeoing, like I would I'd take the end of November and the first couple of weeks of December, and I'd bow hunt. I was just so into bow hunting, and that's all I did. And after I retired from rodeo, I got to go to a lot of different places and bow hunt, because I got into videography for outdoor stuff, and so I got to bow hunt a lot of different places. And I got behind me there's I got a lease in Kansas, and behind me on the wall there's 8 bucks in here that are all over 170 that I killed with my bow in Kansas and Missouri and Nebraska. And so I got it's almost like after that, turkey hunting just kind of eats me up. Like I don't even care really if I go bow hunting anymore. Like I want turkey season. Like
Yeah.
if it could be springtime all the time, I would.
Before.
Yeah, my phone died, like literally died. I had no idea that it wasn't. I thought it was fully charged, but I guess it wasn't. But anyway, where
Yeah.
we were at was talking about. I would much rather turkey hunt now than any other hunting. I mean, it's like literally if I kind of have a goal of like killing one in all 49 states, but it's not it's not necessary. And I'm the guy, like, if we go somewhere and we're allowed 2 birds, I'm usually going to kill one,
Yeah.
and I'm good. And then I've got buddies that are like, no, I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to kill every bird. And I'm like, I don't know. I enjoy it so much that, next to rodeo, and this is probably getting to rodeo for a living, turkey hunting is probably my favorite thing. I literally, and the fact that you got to come up there and we got to shoot that triple, and then your bird had a triple beard. That was crazy. And then you got to reap one the next day. So it was kind of went full circle. We killed one kind of old school, and then you killed one, new school. And,
Yeah.
and then you got to make your decision, whether to me, I don't know, the reaping thing's it's not my deal. And, I've done it, and now I'm back to more. In fact, like next year, I want to just go the whole season with my 20 gauge and a trumpet, like just a little trumpet call.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to use one.
And try it out.
I want to try to kill one just use the trumpet and my 20 gauge the whole season, and just say, okay, I'm gonna kill every bird with this trumpet. It's like every year I want it to be a little tougher. I want it to aggravate me a little more.
Yeah, exactly. Just give yourself another little challenge or something to throw in there. Especially like you said, you killed a ton of birds, and you want to move it around. You want to make it a little more difficult. You want to test yourself. Like, how good a turkey hunter am I? How good of a hunter am I? And I think everybody kind of goes through that and through that.
Oh, and I've busted
that
them, dude.
space.
Like I've busted so many birds in my life, like just trying to get too close or make another move or get up one more tree. And I mean, I busted a bird this year on my for my wife, and 100% my fault. And in fact, it was Saturday morning, as a matter of fact, because this bird gobbled. We were standing at the truck, and he was supposed to be across the fields where we thought he was when we left him, and he's literally 200 yards from the truck where we're parked. And I'm like, he's right here, and he was on a field edge, which is on one of our leases. And I told her at first, I said, man, he's right on the edge of that field. And then he gobbled again. And I said, no, he's deeper in there. He's not right on the edge. I think he's probably, 40 or 50 yards off the edge. I kind of thought I had an idea where he was. We've been hunting this property for 20 plus years. So, I mean, it's not like I don't kind of know everything.
Don't know it, yeah.
And so we start down there to him, and he's still gobbling. He's still up. And she literally told me, I mean, she's a great turkey hunter. She's probably way better turkey hunter than I am. She said, I think we should sit down like right here, right on this field edge. Like we need to sit down right here. And I'm like, no, let's go up another like 30 yards, and I think we'll be close. And we go up. It's dark. He's gobbling in the dark. We get in there. He shuts up. He's not gobbling. And we sit down, and we both look up, and he is literally in the tree 15 yards from us looking at us. And I'm like, well, crap. And so daylight comes and he busts. Of course, we can't do nothing. We're just kind of pinned there.
Yeah.
And he flies away from us toward this creek, and we give him some time, and we gave him probably 45 minutes or so. And I said, well, let's walk that way and see if he flew down, in this big flat over here. And so we start walking that way, and we get almost to where the creek is, where this flat is, and we stop, and I look up, and I went, whoa. And he'd just flown to another tree right there on the field edge, and we were standing under him again. And I was like, gosh dang it.
Yeah.
And so this time he did fly over the creek.
Yeah, he was out that time.
And I remember, like, it was Sunday morning, so it was fixing to rain. And we stayed with him as long as we could, and he was across the creek, and he was 50 yards from us, and he hadn't gobbled in a while, and he gobbled, I think, one time after he flew down. And that was it. And so we'd been probably another, from daylight till 8:00, 8:30, and it's fixing to rain, it's thundering, and we're fixing to go to church anyway, and so I said, well, we better get out of here before we get rained on. And I said, I'm going to call one more time, see where he is. I called, and he was literally 50 yards from us. He gobbled, and I went, that was him giving us the bird right there.
Yeah.
He's giving us the finger like, he's
going the other way. Like,
yep, know right where you are. We just walked away. We just had to leave him there. So yeah, I mean, every time you think you got it figured out in the turkey woods, they'll make you feel stupid, in a hurry. And when they work, like when it all works, they make you bow your chest out and feel like you're the greatest turkey hunter in the world.
Yeah.
Like you kill turkeys anywhere in the world. And then, you go 3 days and they just kick your butt, and you're like,
yeah,
I suck at this. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Throw my call down.
Change it up. I'm gonna get something else. Forget that mouth call, but just go straight box call or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like start throwing everything in your pack at them, and then they still don't answer, and you're like, whatever, I suck at this. And then the next day you squeak on your call like the most horrible yelp you ever heard in your life because your reeds are stuck together, and he gobbles and runs straight to you.
Yeah.
It's like, did that really just happen? So yeah, it's turkey hunting, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it's supposed to be, man.
Exactly.
To me, but
exactly. Well, I wanted to touch on one little thing because
Sure.
I get this from a lot of my friends, and this is kind of the first time I've had somebody else on the podcast that actually does some filming, for hunts and stuff. And you get told, and you might hear this too. It's like, oh man, that must be the best job in the world to be out there, filming and everything. And for the most part, it is. But a lot of people think it's just all fun and games. And we just get to run around and, watch people kill stuff and get it on film, and everything kind of just goes like it is, and they see it on TV, but like kind of gives a little insight, basically just tell me I'm right in what I've been saying.
I don't know exactly what you've been saying, but I can tell you this. I'll just give you a little example. Like the first hunt that I went on to film with Eddie Salter was in Florida, opening week. So, I mean, Florida opens really early, like March 2nd or February 28th or whatever. So we're down there in March, like March 2nd. And the people that invited us down to hunt, like we could hunt their property on their ranch, but we didn't have anywhere to stay. So we were staying an hour from where we were hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were staying at these other people's house that Eddie knew, friends of his, that he kind of set this whole thing up. So we're staying at their house. So we have to get up every morning we have to leave the house every morning by 3:30, 3 o'clock to get there before daylight because we're on the East Coast, right? Sun's coming up early over there, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, 4:30, it's daylight, so we're getting up, we're leaving the house at 3 o'clock. We hunt all day at the property. We stop and eat on the way home. We get back, we take a shower, and of course, you're staying out there till dark, so it's not getting dark till 7:30 or 8 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get back at the time we eat. We get back to the house, take a shower. It's 10. I start charging batteries, dumping footage. By the time I go to bed, it's usually 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. And I have to leave. We have to be in the truck ready to leave no later than 3 a.m. And that was for 4 solid days.
Yeah.
Every day. And the whole day you're first of all, there's no redos. I hear everybody talks about, videography and all this stuff, and it's great. And even in the rodeo world that I film in now, and you filmed in, it's the same thing. It's not like you can stop a guy and go, "Hey, can y'all load that saddle bronc back up?" And nod your head again and let's do this again at the rodeo, because you're filming live action. Same thing with hunting. You got to be sharp and you got to be ready, and you want to damn sure make sure it's not you if something goes wrong. You want to make sure it's not the cameraman, because and that's why it always helps to be to be at least a decent hunter, to be the camera guy, because it's hard work. I mean, it's work. Like, I'm not saying I didn't have some fun times, like going to Montana and hunting with Jason Matzinger, out of wall tents. I mean, literally set up an elk camp in the Missouri Breaks in Montana, one of the hardest tags to draw for elk season. And we're there turkey hunting out of wall tents for 7 days. Just literally climb out of a wall tent and go. We're 100 miles from the nearest gas station. And it was definitely, those times were fun. Like, I had a blast. We, running and gunning, chasing turkey. Now, the one time that I had to film a couple guys that wanted to go setting blinds and stuff, and that's not my gig. Like, I'm not a guy that sets in a blind to kill turkeys, and I don't care. There's a lot of people that do, and that's their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's literally nothing wrong with it. But for me to sit there and do it, like, it just, oh my gosh, it just drove me nuts. Like, I want to run and gun, just like we did in Nebraska. I want to run and gun, and he's gobbling. I want to go to him. I want it to be like an old school turkey hunt. Like, just, he gobbles, you go, you get as close as you can, set up, try to call him in. That's what I want, So yeah, there's times when it's a lot of fun, like the wall tent, and like when we were in Nebraska, and but as far as I'm definitely going to say I'm grateful for all the experiences I got to have, because it definitely taught me how to hunt, a lot better. But yeah, I'll say this: if you really enjoy hunting, you probably don't want to be the cameraman, because it's you get to do a lot of work, and you don't get to do a whole lot of hunting. You get to see a lot of stuff get killed, but you don't get to be behind the trigger, and it's fun. But I just remember those times that I was gone filming for all these different TV shows, and like I might have, but like during deer season, I mean, when I was really wanting to be out there bow hunting during the prime rut, somewhere, prime rut's when I was my busiest. I had to be somewhere in a tree stand with a camera in my hand,
Yep.
So yeah, it takes back seat, and you don't get to hunt at all those places. Fortunately, in that trip to Florida, Eddie told the ranch manager there that the only bird I needed to complete my slam was Osceola, and the ranch manager said, "Well, Eddie killed one. The other girl we were filming there killed one. You may know her, Lindsay Hollins. She's in the real estate business out there in Texas now. She grew up in Florida.
Okay.
So Lindsay shot on the U.S. Olympic skeet shooting team.
I'm going to say her name sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, and so she moved from Florida to Texas and got in the real estate business. But Lindsay she had just come back from London, and we had her on turkey hunt with us there, and she killed one the first afternoon. Eddie killed one the next morning, and we still had an extra day, and we had 2 extra days, and so the ranch manager found out that all I needed was an Osceola to finish my slam, and he said, "Well, you can, I want you to kill a turkey on my place to finish your slam."
Yeah.
So I can tell you that was an experience because I had Eddie Salter running camera and calling for me.
Dude,
He called in my Osceola, and I killed him with Eddie's shotgun, and it was that was one of my all-time coolest experiences there too, because I remember when that bird was gobbling on the roost, he flew down, and those Osceolas don't gobble a lot on the ground. I mean, they get pretty quiet. They'll gobble a lot on a tree, and then they fly down, and they don't gobble a lot on the ground like big Easterns do, or like especially like Rios or Miriams. Miriams will gobble all day, but they're pretty tight-lipped. I mean, they'll come in strutting, but they may not say nothing. And Eddie said, "You better get your call in your mouth, start calling." And I'm like, "I'm not calling." He goes, "What do you mean you're not calling?" I said, "I'm not calling. I want you to call." And he goes, "What do you mean you want me to call?" And I said, I want to be able to say that Eddie Salter called my Osceola in for me." And I'm like, "Why would I want to call anyway? I got Eddie Salter."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that I couldn't call, because I called in Lindsay's bird,
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that Eddie Salter called my bird in, and I killed him with Eddie calling. And he filmed it, and it was on one of his episodes. He put it on there, me killing my Osceola. And so there are times that you get to do stuff like that. But I think you knew kind of when we were up there in Nebraska, and I told you I'm burnt out. I'm over it. Like I'm over the outdoor industry. It's a hard gig. It's the pay's low. The days are long. Sometimes the people that you have to film with and film are just, they're not who you thought they were going to be. Watching them on TV, sometimes they're just not those people. And when you're a freelance guy, you take those gigs and you go, about your lip and turn the camera on, and it's. But for the most part, I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm thankful I had those experiences. I'm thankful I got to do it, because I think I look now like, now, we're filming, pretty much all Resistol stuff, probably 95% of it. Now we just signed a deal with Cinch, so we're doing a bunch of work for Cinch now. We've done an Ariat commercial. We've done, stuff for Wrangler in the past, last year, Hui brands, Dewey's truck beds, Massey Ferguson this year. We did some stuff with Massey Ferguson. So, I mean, I this is how I feel. Is like all that stuff that I did in the outdoor industry for 8 years, as far as a videographer goes, it brought me to where I am now. It taught me a lot of lessons, good and bad. So, but as far as answering your question, I don't know. It's like people say, "Oh, I'd love to have that job," and it's like, yeah, well, get you a camera.
And start running it.
See how, it's like it's kind of like we just did the BFI documentary, the full documentary, and it's kind of like my friend Mikey Fletcher, who won the BFI one year from Florida. Mikey says, get about the BFI. He said, "Get you a partner, Put your money up. See how far you make it, Holmes.
Exactly, man.
That's kind of the
Exactly.
same way with the outdoor videography.
Yep.
Buy
Get you
your
a camera.
Buy your camera, put your shingle out, see how far you make it, Holmes. You may be the next big thing. You don't know. I mean,
Exactly.
or it may make you
Exactly.
totally hate hunting. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, man, dude, I'm glad I had you on the podcast and tell that story and everything. And like, dude, like I said, you were one of the first ones that gave me a little shot to get out there and go hunt and film some stuff. So I do appreciate it. And
Oh, shoot, man.
a cool thing about that Nebraska bird, I know you saw, and for the listeners, Megan and I just got married. So in our I appreciate it, man. So I took a bunch of feathers from when we were on that hunt from the bird I killed, and I think I had some feathers from some of the ones y'all killed too,
Yep.
you and BJ. So those feathers we actually used in our wedding for decoration. So
Dude,
all
that's
of the
awesome.
all the table placements and everything, we had my turkey feathers from. It was a couple. Some of it was some of the Rios that we killed here in Texas, but there was some feathers out of those Nebraska birds, man. So
Dude, that's awesome.
that's
That
pretty
makes
cool.
me feel good. That makes
Hell
me feel
yeah,
good.
man.
I'll be sure to tell BJ. He asked me about you a lot of times too. We still BJ and I talk, at least once a month, and
Yeah.
he'll ask me, "So you talk to Brandon?" I'm like, "I see him on, chat with him on Instagram." That's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
dude,
good.
man, like I said, dude, I'm glad you came on the podcast, and hopefully again we'll get to go do one over a turkey hunt or something. We're sure
We got
camp
to.
together.
We got to do it. We'll do one. We'll try to figure out something next year. Hopefully, we can figure out another trip to Nebraska or something.
Sounds good, man. Well, everybody, appreciate y'all listening to the podcast. Go follow Tim. I know you got your page, which is tim.endsley, and then I'll drop it in the show notes and everything. But if you want to say it, check out y'all's page, y'all's business page and everything, and check out all the cool content he's putting out. Because if you're in the rodeo industry, I can almost promise you've seen some of their work. And if you hadn't, you need to get out from under a rock and go check it out.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's Wildhorse Motion Films on Instagram, and we just kind of got our YouTube channel started just now.
Nice.
We started putting some stuff up. It's hard because you're doing so much client work, you don't own it, So
yeah, exactly.
It's hard to take time to do your own stuff to put up on the YouTube channel. But we just now kind of started dribbling a little stuff on there. But yeah, it's Wildhorse Motion Films on Instagram, and mine is, you'll put it on there, Tim Endsley Wildhorse.
Yeah.
On Instagram. But it's been a lot of fun, dude. We got to do it again.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll be in Texas all week next week, so it's
Dang, well then we're leaving because we're going on our honeymoon next week to go to Belize, so we'll have some content from that. So heck yeah, man. Well, appreciate everybody listening, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.